Yeah, you recording?
I'm recording, Ian.
We doing this?
We're doing it. Welcome.
Doing it well.
Welcome to the Completely Unnecessary Podcast for the last day of summer, according to Ian. Tuesday, September 21st, 2021.
We checked that out last week.
He's Ian.
I'm Ian.
I'm Pat Contry. I'm wearing the Macho Man shirt today. Ian should be proud of me.
Nice.
On the show today, we'll be talking about a potential train wreck. We'll be talking about golden auction results. Golden auctions auctioning off their first video game stuffs. Very interesting results there as well. We're going to be doing some other topics and things of that nature. We'll be talking about how awful it is if you collect PC games. Oh, no, we're not going to talk about that. We love PC games and PC games. I'm a PC game collector. So.
Yeah, some people really took that topic the wrong way.
They took it to mean that like we thought PC games were worthless. We never said that.
No, I love PC games. I'm literally just saying that they're not going to be as collectible as console games.
Meaning the broader market, there's way less of you out there. There's way less of us.
It's not a personal attack on you. I don't think you're bad for collecting PC games.
I've spent several $100s on an individual PC game.
I think they're awesome. They just don't have the same grab. And just because they grab you doesn't mean that it's widespread.
It's not. I've been to all the gaming conventions the past 10 years, the major ones. I've seen it. There's not a lot of out there.
I'm glad there's a space for it. And yes, it's big enough to even support some of its own conventions. It's just not as big. That's all I said. It's not as big.
Is there a retro PC gaming convention?
There's retro computer conventions, and I'm sure games and things
games
get
are
sold
in
there.
Okay.
Like I know there's a big Apple II one every year that would be fun to go to.
It's less than 5% of retro game collecting. It's small. So, what did you do this weekend, Ian? You went to the zoo, right?
I did.
Yay!
I did a few things.
Fishing cat.
I went to the zoo, renewed my zoo pass. They have fun names now. I think we're like a wildlife protector. I think that's the tier that we bought in at.
I thought they always had tiers like that.
They've changed the tiers. So it's like the lowest level tier, which is still pretty good. And then there's the higher tier that has two versions, one with blackout dates and one without blackout dates.
So there's blackout dates for if you're not at that tier, you can't get in. It's like special days.
Yeah, it's like I think you can't go like weekends or Mondays or something like that.
You can't go. You mean your card won't count? You can still pay. You gotta pay. Wow.
Yeah.
They changed that.
But honestly, it's like $20 more for no blackout dates, and who cares? Here's the funny thing.
I don't care about giving money to the critters. I don't care.
That's what I took that the wrong way. When it comes to zoo, I will pay whatever it is because I feel like the money is going to something good.
Yeah.
I will pay the $10 for a shitty cheeseburger if I'm very hungry at the zoo. I don't care. It's
the food at the zoo is actually pretty good.
Some of it is all right.
Good nachos, good burgers.
John and I are planning on trying out Albert's. I think that's the sit-down restaurant there. It's under new management.
Is Albert's the one when you walk in and you go right to the right?
It's the one that's up right before the big bridge.
Oh, the bridge one. Oh, their food was not that good before. They had like a meatball sandwich before that was like, and they had like a...
New management.
Well, is the management the zoo? Or do you like, if you own one of these restaurants, you have to like buy into the zoo to get in?
I have no idea.
Did they call it new management because they realized that was like the best location of the zoo, but
it's supposed to be their fancy sit-down restaurant.
But it's not good food there.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out.
I like the what is it? What is it? Sydney's Odyssey? I like the Outback restaurant. They have good food there.
I think Vonnie goes there.
They have good food there. They have a good burger. They have like I think they have like a pulled pork sandwich. It's pretty good there. I like that. And the place where you walk in with the sandwiches, good sandwiches.
Yeah.
And like I think they have pizza slice, whatever. Most of the zoo food is good, but yeah, that one restaurant stands out because that's like the most beautiful spot to sit down at, and the food is like average at best. Like they got sandwiches and a meatball sandwich, and
so I want to try that at some point. But yeah, no,
let's do a zoo outing. Let's do it.
I like the zoo. Anyway, the mid-tier pass. It is one of those things. Vonnie and our anniversary is coming up, October 11th.
Is that 6-7 years?
7.
Wow.
We've been together since 2009, so quite some time.
So have we, Ian.
Yeah. So we're going to Disney, and like just for 2 days at Disney per person, it's like $260 something
for 2 days.
For 2 days,
so like a $130 a person.
No, that's per person. It's like 200 something. It's like It's like almost $500 for.
Was it always that bad?
No. I've lived in San Diego for almost 16 years now, 17 years. It has not always been that bad.
I picture it being like $70 to go to Disney at one point or something like that.
First year, I missed my anniversary. I didn't even think about it. 9/14.
You missed your wedding anniversary?
No, anniversary of moving here.
Oh, okay. Mine's 8/20.
It's about a week ago. Exactly a week ago. 8/20.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it was like, anyways, my whole point is 2-year passes to the zoo cost you what 1-2-day pass to go to Disney is. It's just,
and you can go, you can hang out with the critters every day.
Yes.
Like
sometimes I do.
If I lived close to the zoo within walking distance, I'd be there 3 days a week. Just even for like a half hour to say hi to my critter friends.
Oh, John was so close to the zoo when he used to live in North Park that he would go there to get quarters for laundry and go say hi to like the penguins and then leave.
The penguins had quarters and they changed?
There were change machines there.
There was change machines at the zoo?
Yeah.
What for?
They have them for the penny machines.
Oh, that makes sense. I don't think I've seen a change machine at the zoo.
There's one right by the front door.
I was gonna say, is there an arcade that's manned by some primates and big cats? Can't you change? There's an old cat with that coin pusher belt thing. All right, remember the coin pusher?
I remember those. Yeah.
God, I want one of those.
Mm-hmm. The change makers. I used to know people who were fast on it who used to work in the arcade.
Oh, it's great. That's all Jersey Shore stuff again.
Yeah.
Those guys, those old timers that probably were operating those in like the freaking 50s that were still there in the 80s and 90s were walking around giving you change. Okay, and you hand them dollars. But they had changing machines in the 80s, but they're probably still new, and you wanted the personal touch. Hey, can I? Your little 7-year-old. Hey, can I have change? All right, beautiful, Ian.
Anyway, yeah, that was my weekend.
I shopped for patio furniture on Amazon and online.
Yeah, that's right. And you showed me what you were looking at.
Ian approved.
Slick.
Ian approved.
It's gonna look nice.
We're gonna finally have the housewarming at Castle Country.
Yeah,
4 years later.
after the fact.
Hey, the pandemic was thrown in there. That's a year.
3 years after the fact. Yeah.
All right, he's already being sassy with me.
I'm
Sassy
sassy.
Ian. The SEC is going to be investigating Activision Blizzard. Ian, you see this article?
Yeah, that's pretty big news. Big news.
Is it big news?
It's not.
Okay, I was going to hit the button.
Nope, definitely not.
They've launched a wide-reaching investigation into Activision Blizzard, with the government agency looking into how the embattled publisher handled the multiple allegations of sexual harassment, abuse, and toxic behavior that became public following California going after them in July. The SEC has subpoenaed Activision and several of its high-ranking execs, including CEO Bobby Kotick.
Good.
They started investigating Activision Blizzard and asking for the Call of Duty Warcraft publisher to hand over various documents. It's from the Kotaku write-up of it. They include the personnel files of 6 previous employees and records of CEO Kotick's communications with executives relating to the numerous complaints of sexual harassment and discrimination levied against Activision Blizzard staff. So up to this point, I guess the word has been, or at least the profounding, that's the word, opinion is that Activision may have been, since they were separated from Blizzard, they may have been personally involved with all this shenanigans going on more on the Blizzard side. So I guess we'll find out for sure if they're subpoenaing the emails.
Yeah. Yeah, when it first came out, the word was pretty quick that it was, this is mostly a Blizzard thing.
It's mostly the fucking Blizzard assholes.
But now we're going to find out.
Either way, they're in trouble because it's the umbrella company, but, I don't know if the CEO is going to be personally connected to any of this stuff. I would hope that any individual, then again, a lot were doing bad behavior, you would not want to be personally connected to this shit. But then again, all this shit happens all the time. So, I mean,
right.
I mean, it's insane. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it, Ian. Since any comments on it? It's not really.
No, just speaking of assholes, the Disney Games Collection is getting a re-release.
Wow, first you attacked the price of their tickets and Mickey's gonna come out with a baseball bat.
Yeah, well,
this is Is this the first time we're doing a physical re-release? A re-release.
Well, I mean, it had a physical version initially.
That's what I mean. That's a physical re-release. This is a re-release. This is the second
re-release. A re-release of a re-release. Disney a couple of years ago put out.
I have it over right there. Where is it?
Put out a compilation that had.
I have it.
I mean, that's great. We know what games look like. All right. You've got it. Lion King and Aladdin on it. And it had the Lion King between Genesis and Super Nintendo was basically the same, but it included the SNES, Game Boy Color, and Mega Drive versions of The Lion King. It famously did not include the Super Nintendo version of Aladdin, which was the one that was made by Capcom and was more of a platformer and less of an action game, because it didn't have Aladdin didn't have like a sword weapon.
And you got your soundtrack, museum mode, rewind anytime, emulation stuff. You can skip any part of the game. There you go. No NES versions because they're ass.
Yeah, they're real bad.
Even compared to the Game Boy ones, they're not good.
But famously did not have the Super Nintendo Aladdin. It also, not famously because no one cares about it, didn't have the Jungle Book. No one's ever given a shit about the Jungle Book. I don't think anyone has ever talked about that game being good or worthwhile. It sells very infrequently at Luna. People do ask for Lion King and Aladdin all the time. They remember them fondly from their youth. Whether or not they're actually good games, everyone had them. They were everywhere.
Sure.
So they're re-releasing it with the Jungle Book. They're adding the SNES, Game Boy, and Mega Drive, so Genesis versions of the Jungle Book. And they are adding the SNES version of Aladdin. And other than that, it is the same. And they are selling it as a brand new collection. They are treating it as a brand new release. As of right now, there is absolutely no word that previous owners of this will get an update to add the missing games.
Also tonight, an update.
We'll hope so.
Fingers crossed, but it doesn't seem that way so far, and that would be kind of shitty.
So this is less than 2 years old, this game release. This was the tail end of 2019. I cannot fathom them not having it download the new versions to you. Less than 2 years old, and you're telling me some people will want to go out and... Some people might say, you know what, I want that Super Nintendo version of Aladdin. I'm going to rebuy it. This is really strange to see it happen this quickly. Really strange.
Yeah. So there isn't anything that says that it's not going to be a download, but this article we're reading says it's being touted as an entirely new release. We're not sure if those who bought the first incarnation will get access to the SNES version of Aladdin or the Jungle Book. Again, I mean, one of two things. If it doesn't, that sucks for the reasons we've discussed. And if it does, it sucks for reasons we've discussed recently, in that physical copies of games don't mean a whole lot anymore depending on when they're released.
If I'm Capcom, this is why I probably won't include them. If I'm Capcom and like, okay, you're probably, what is this, Nighthawk? You're probably going to Nighthawk Interactive and be like, okay, we're gonna license you out this many portions of the SNES Aladdin. That's gonna probably include new release going forward. Nighthawk probably can't shell out the extra money to then have it be thrown at the people that already bought it 2 years ago. So my guess.
I guess it really just depends on the amount of money that changed hands.
Yeah, I can picture Capcom maybe being nice and say, yeah, okay, you can give it to the people that bought it, but it's Capcom,
right?
They probably want money for all the people, for Pat to get it and download it. They want to get a piece of that. So that's where it's like, from a business standpoint, probably we're stuck with these old, obsolete copies out there, everyone. I'm sorry. I streamed this. I streamed myself playing one of the few rare gameplay streams on Twitch. I did myself. That sounded good. I played. I think I completed Lion King, which was incredibly difficult. Like I said at the time, I don't imagine any kid beating this.
Didn't you do the remixed version of Aladdin, or did you do the normal version of Aladdin?
What's the difference between the remix? The remix made it easier.
Less bugs, better scrolling.
Might have been. That was a lot easier than Lion King, though. Lion King was nuts to play.
I knew a kid who beat Lion King as a kid, but I mean, as a kid, that was a rare thing to see. I remember everyone pretty much working their way through Aladdin if they put their time into it.
But the funny thing is that the Lion King part that got me wasn't the when you're running away from the pack of animals. That one I went through pretty easy. It was like the puzzle thing where you're getting thrown all over. Like, it was like that shit that drove me crazy. Like earlier in the game drove me crazy on that. So, yeah, we're kind of screwed out there. It's a shame that, they won't do the right thing. But I'll do the right thing at ultimatenintendo.com. I will
had one going. That's pretty good.
I will definitely be sending you high quality NES and SNES guidebooks, RBI baseball stickers, enamel pins with our cute faces on them that are now looking better because of geology.
Thank you, geology.
That's all going to be sent to you at ultimatenintendo.com. Save your good one for next week, Ian. Save your good one. Unless you want to do it too, you can throw it in.
Nope.
Also, I'll be on Twitch Wednesday night, twitch.tv/CountryCode. We're watching 80s and 90s now. We watched the best of the 50s and 60s as well last week, which is mostly candy stuff in the 50s and 60s. What I noticed about the 50s and 60s stuff, this was before all the government regulations. They said whatever the fuck they wanted on those commercials.
Oh, sure.
And you knew it was absolutely horseshit. At least now you're looking like you can't say that. You can't say that's like healthy, this shit. Like, I'm not even talking about like the cigarette commercials where it's like, oh, it's toasted, it's good for you. And it's like, yeah.
You should watch the Cliff's Notes version of the Vitamita Vegemin episode of I Love Lucy.
Okay.
Good one. Just because it's, kind of...
Was that sponsored content?
It was like, that was them talking about... No, I mean, it was making fun of sponsored content.
Because I knew it back then that a lot was horseshit.
Yeah.
This soap will elongate your life. Like stuff like that, they'd say. It's like, what? I don't think you can legally say that stuff on a commercial.
Time for my monthly statement that I love Lucille Ball. It's been a long time since I've watched anything of hers, though.
Been a while, Ian? Well, she's been gone for a while. Ian. She was definitely 20.
Yeah, but I mean, I haven't
years.
gone back to like... I used to watch that shit all the time as a teenager and in my early 20s.
Yeah. She died fairly young. She wasn't too old.
I think she was
70?
I thought
75?
I thought it was even like late 60s.
Yeah, well, she was a smoker probably, and a lot of those people were back then in the golden age of Hollywood.
77 years.
Oh, okay, that's not bad for someone that was born in like 15, whatever it was, 1918. I always go back to that early Three Stooges episode where she's like no older than 18. She looks like she's almost unrecognizable. Yeah. She's like you're like, wow, she's a knockout. That's before all the comedy stuff, where she's just getting her foot in the door in Hollywood. That was like 34, so she must have been born in like 1916, something like that, or 1915.
1911, Jamestown, New York.
11. Mm-hmm. Okay, so she was like 23 in that Three Stooges episode. Okay, all right, a little bit older than I thought. It was three little pigskins. That was one of the first Three Stooges episodes. They were short films. I always forget there were short films. There were no episodes back then. There wasn't fucking TV in the 30s.
Yeah.
I always forget that. Like there wasn't TV in most people's homes until like the fucking 50s.
These things were played in front of movies at movie theaters.
There wasn't like TVs in a lot of houses like what the mid 50s, like around then. I gotta look that up, but like that's when people started getting more TVs. Weird to think about that. It really is when you think about it. It's like, yeah, when people were still listening to the radio for entertainment up until like the 50s. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say about that.
That's all I gotta say about it too.
You want to know what video games have the most potty mouse that play them, Ian?
I didn't, but I'm gonna tell you, it's Rainbow Six Siege players are the most foul-mouthed base.
Way to just you went with the lead and we didn't build up to it.
We didn't. That's all right. We can work our way down though. It starts with expletives per 15 minutes is how they figured this out.
This is from what is this Buzz Bingo? They sat through more than 25 hours of Twitch streams and YouTube gaming broadcasts to discover the most foul-mouthed player bases and the popular streamers that swear the most. Good for you, Buzz Bingo, which I haven't heard of you, but now I'm kind of proud that you've put yourself through this. It sounds
Thank you
horrible.
for doing the work that no one else wants to do.
I thought to myself, well, maybe they use like machine learning and they just like got in the nope. They had an intern probably sit down and suffer through 25 hours.
So, they broke it up into expletives per 15 minutes and then run rate, which is the expletives per hour. Rainbow Six is at the number one with 146 per 15 minutes. FIFA 21 was at 138. COD Warzone at 121. Halo Master Chief Collection 109. I think it would be interesting to see that broken down by entry.
The different
entries.
Okay.
Because I've tinkered with the MCC collection, and I think you play on. It's not like it's just you jump into online. It's separated per game.
And then on the bottom of the list, I think is interesting. Forza Horizon 4. I mean, it's a racing game, right? So like,
sure,
you have a lot of concentration to curse at everyone while you're driving. It's like, no, probably not. You got to stay on the road there. I'm going to say this. Obviously, this is not a scientific methodology.
No.
For something like this, you'd probably have to go onto a bunch of random streams of multiplayer and literally use machine learning of every player playing and then count it up and then divide it out, But it's interesting.
The one that surprised me is League of Legends. I've never played it. I've always heard that it has a very toxic fan base.
That's disappointing.
Always heard it has a very toxic fan base. Only 69 swears per minute.
Oh my God, that's my Comic-Con thing. Sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. It's all right, Pat.
Go on, Ian.
So, no, that's all I was going to say. I'm very surprised that it only had 69 swears per 15 minutes. It's in the bottom 3 on this list.
Nice.
Yeah, nice. Nice indeed. You want to talk about cucks? Cucks.
You can go into cucks, Ian.
Yeah, while you try to buy
I think it's cukes, but cucks sounds funnier.
No, they've even advertised on it being called cucks because the real cucks are the people who let the government control the media or something like that.
Okay.
This is just one of those. So this is an Indiegogo thing, I believe. Yes. It would have to be Indiegogo because no one knows what it does. It has raised nearly $172,000 on crowdfunding, and no one's really sure what it does. They don't know if it's some sort of end-to-end encrypted video sharing network, or maybe it's just one of those crazy streaming boxes that purports to give you everything for free, which I think it probably is. But it's clearly going after a right-wing market. They even say they are. And knowing that you would pronounce it cucks, we went with the name because it also serves as a troll bait and switch.
That's always good for your product. You want to reach a mass audience. We want to troll a portion of the population.
Yeah.
That's good. This raised $172,000 on Indiegogo, which, of course, Indiegogo, you don't need a prototype of hardware to be on Indiegogo.
So, this is one of those things where they're like, hey, it's right-wing. You're going to love it. It's going to free you from the man. And that's basically their advertising, but without anyone knowing what the fuck it does.
So what was that? What was that Liberty phone? What was that phone thing that claimed that this is a secure phone, and it was just a shitty off-the-shelf Android phone, and they upcharged it to, what was it, hundreds of dollars for this shitty phone?
Slapped a couple American flags on their marketing and called it a goddamn day.
And unfortunately, you can get rubes easily with talk like this. You can promote products and grift with a political slant. You can easily do that.
Yes.
And it's a fucking shame.
And that shit does exist on the left too, but I don't see it in quite the amount as I see it on the right.
Yeah,
there are definitely left grifters, but
absolutely. But I think for these mass market products, I think it's easier. It's somewhat easier to consolidate the message into like, oh, well, the world is after you. Well, this product will change that. Take this tech. And it's like, no.
Want to own the liberals? Buy this pillow.
Oh, Lindell, that lunatic.
That guy's fucking nuts, man. I'm surprised he didn't get arrested at the end of the last presidency just with how obsessed he was, just showing up to the White House all day, every day. Like, I got to tell you something, Trump.
Well, he still got the lawsuit from the ballot counting, the ballot machine. They're suing the hell out of him.
You want to talk about Billy Mitchell?
I don't really, but we're gonna have to here. Are you skipping this other one? About the women gamers?
Yeah, I didn't have any. I tried to look at it, and I didn't really have a lot to say.
Billy Mitchell is officially suing YouTuber Carl Jobst. Officially suing. Was announced on Twitter. We don't know where this is going to go. Obviously,
they changed their Facebook status, officially being sued.
Well, because you can threaten, but once you actually submit something to a court, you're not sued. You know, you can legally threaten, and Pat's been legally threatened a couple of times in the past month. I'm going to get into one of them. But, you know, this goes back to the videos where Carl's talking about Billy Mitchell allegedly, faking scores, the back and forth with Twin Galaxies. And I think one of those lawsuits is still going on, I believe. And so, I know Carl probably has a robust legal defense. He probably has a contingency for this, that he was aware that this might happen, and so I wish him all the best. Obviously, that's the only thing I can say about it. It's unfortunate that you have these people, if you want to throw in grifting here and there, these people that do potentially nefarious things, and then when they get called out on doing nefarious or scandalous things, their recourse then is to threaten a lawsuit or legal action. And that seems to be something that I've seen more and more of the past few years.
You've accurately reported on what I'm doing. I'm claiming defamation.
Yes. And why do I bring this up, Ian?
I don't know.
Because we
might not have any real reason to bring it up, or maybe you do.
Because we reported on something back in the middle of 2019 about a game preservationist named Patrick Scott Patterson.
World-renowned preservationist.
Who had acquired, might have been donated to him. I forget the details. Some people said that might have been a donation. The Akira Game Boy prototype. And there was that NES hockey game that were undumped games. They were not released anywhere. We originally reported, I think, on them being found.
Yes.
And then we didn't report upon them again until they were sold off on eBay to parts unknown, to people unknown. And we decried how that was a shame for game preservation and game history at large. It was our worst fear, I think we said at the time, especially since it was found that it was done by a self-proclaimed game preservationist who did the exact opposite of what every other game preservationist out there does, which means to actually preserve the information so it's not lost. That's what a preservationist is.
Yes.
That's what they do. So we talked about it, and we said at the time, we hope this individual, leaves the video game industry and goes off and does whatever the fuck they want to. They can just fuck off. And they did. But it turns out that I guess it was festering that our coverage of it and the coverage of others, because this person is not just, we weren't the only people talking about it. Behind the scenes, other game preservationists and people that have been trying to do this have also had this individual on their radar for doing bad things. So didn't hear anything about it until a few weeks ago. Patrick Scott Patterson tried to copyright strike that video from my channel. If you don't know what that means, a copyright strike is, basically it gets taken down and then you get a strike on your channel, which is like a boo-boo. And if you get too many of those in a certain amount of time, your channel's wiped.
Right.
So it's a pretty egregious step to take, especially over 2 years later, to do that. So I had the option via YouTube to file a counterclaim. I filed a counterclaim. That gives the person 10 days to sue me, to basically not have it. That's basically YouTube stepping out of the way. We're not arbitrating this. It's now a legal dispute. It's literally a legal dispute between two parties. So obviously there was no lawsuit served. If there was, I would have fought it because it would have been frivolous. It was claimed that it was for copyright for using the images from the eBay auction to talk about. We were talking about the auction or using it from social media. We had every right to use those images legally via fair use. It was bullshit. It was an attempt to damage us, because Ian's part of the channel in terms of the podcast stuff, and it was weird to see it this far later. So Mr. Patterson sent an email after the fact saying that he retracted the claim. Didn't retract it. It wasn't going anywhere, and it ran out after like the 10 days or so. It was like you get like 10 business days, and it ran out. So basically, I'm not going to go through this email point by point. I don't want to dump on this individual when I really should. But I'm going to say this. When someone legally goes after me for something I feel is totally, we had totally valid coverage. It was not defamation. It was actually the truth of what we knew at the time and things that were presented to us. Yeah. We went by the public information. We didn't know what was going on behind the scenes. I'm sure this was bid on by, Frank Cifaldi's Video Game History Foundation. National Video Game Museum bid on it. There could have been other preservations bidding on it and driving up the price to line your pockets. That's the whole point. And it was what we talked about people holding these for ransom, these games. This was the worst case scenario. This feeds into it being more difficult for games to be preserved because people like you can profit off of it and did profit off of it. And not only profit off it, you didn't have the decency to dump the ROM beforehand. And that's what the argument basically was. You want to make your money? Go make your fucking money, but you didn't even preserve the information on it. And if the National Video Game Museum does in fact have these games, that's good, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't have been preserved before anyway. Sure. If that makes sense.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
This could have been won by some guy out in the middle of nowhere that has a bunch of stuff in a vault somewhere that you will never see the light of day. Because there are collectors like that. We've seen it.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
We've seen the SimCity NES game was almost lost. That was almost lost.
Just recently this past week, I think it was something like 70 Neo Geo Pocket Color prototypes were up for auction, and Video Game History Foundation did try to get a hold of those, but the bidding got too high and someone got it. And frankly, they don't think they're ever going to see the light of day. We don't know, but it's becoming more and more common for these things to enter private collections.
So I believe our coverage was absolutely valid at the time. You may not have liked it out there, Mr. Patterson, but that's because you did something in our eyes that was very scummy. And so I will not be bullied or threatened, and I believe I speak for Ian as well, from talking about valid things.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Talking about valid things where we call out scumbag behavior and things that we think hurt the gaming community at large, or just hurt individuals, or calling out bad actors. That's not what. Go ahead and fucking sue me. Serve the fucking lawsuit.
Soive it.
That's all I'm going to say about that. It was absolutely ridiculous, and I'll get to the other person that legally threatened me in due time within the past. That was like 6-7 weeks. I'm going to get to the other person in time.
Oh, that little fucking Muppet.
Yeah, we're going to get to that as well, because for some reason people are getting thrown around illegal threats like willy-nilly, and it's like that's not going to protect you from being discussed. People like Carl obviously don't have. I mean, when Carl did his video going after WADA and Heritage Auctions, that's balls, because those are corporations that have a lot of money, and they could go after you if they want to, you know. So you need people out there. I'm not saying I'm a fucking warrior or whatever, but you need people that were willing to at least put a little bit of risk to talk about this stuff, because if not, people get away with bad things. That's it.
Yeah. Like not really being a preservationist. Just using a, name, using a buzzword.
And then in terms of, I don't have to reach out to anyone for any fucking comment or information before I talk about something on a podcast. I'm fucking tired of that fucking line being thrown out.
Yeah, it's not a news article.
But even if it is news, I am not legally required to get anyone's fucking comments or distortion about anything I discuss. I'm not. You might think it's bad form. I'm not Herm Burford from Out of Control News. I don't have my little news hat on. I don't work for an accredited fucking company or newspaper. And if you don't like that and you think we should, well then you don't have to listen to us. That's all I gotta say.